Hour of 7 o'clock having arrived, Tuesday, April 28th, Board of Education meeting, District 208. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you take the roll, please?
Mr. Caputo?
Present.
Mr. Burton?
Here.
Ms. Gasta?
Here.
Ms. Ruska?
Here.
Mr. Novak?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Ms. Saylor?
Here. And Dr. Freitas, many recognitions this evening, please.
Good evening, honorable board members and Dr. Skinkis, our superintendent. Congratulations to our FCCLA students for qualifying and competing at the FCCLA state competition in Springfield. A total of 10 students representing RB's FCCLA chapter, with 4 competing in the charcuterie event, 4 in the cake decorating, 1 in fashion construction, and 1 in star culinary arts. The team received several gold, silver, and bronze medals, and 2 students ranked in the top 5 in the state. Ellie Borsari for charcuterie board. Valerie Galvez, cake decorating. Kaiser Zabek, cake decorating.
Are you going to go up and get your
Gotta come up.
Oh, stay up, we'll do a picture at the end. Stay up there. We're sorry. I know it's a lot.
5 minutes of fame. You're good, you're good, you're good. Stay, you're good. Miss Arcady, behave.
YB Najukas, charcuterie board. Alexandra Salas, charcuterie board. Alicia Roman, cake decorating. Micah Matheny, cake decorating.
Some good times
Just
right
coming
there.
back from a track meet.
Here we go.
Good job, Micah.
Bella Suzikita, fashion construction, top 5 in the state. And last but not least, Michaela Hogue, star culinary arts.
Admiral Rodriguez Jimenez.
Now I would like to invite our 2 CTE teachers to share a few words, Ms. Honan and Mr. Lewis.
Mia, what was Evelyn's certificate? What did she?
Ebo was also a charcuterie board as well.
Okay, the board's not allergic to charcuterie boards. No, just kidding.
So we're just super proud of these students that are back here. They worked really hard, endless hours after school, preparing, training, and taking some time. A lot of them are athletes, so they took some time out of their sports to also be there to work on their craft, to be able to perform at the state level, and they did a fantastic job.
Yeah, but like I said, we're incredibly proud of them. They put in a million hours of work, and we're very pleased with the results that they got both at regionals and state. Placing top 5 for nationals for Bella is a huge accomplishment. So.
And Michaela, who's not here, also placed top 5 as well for Star Culinary Arts, which is one of the hardest competitions at FCCLA.
What's the first word you're saying? Star or star?
Star is their like national levels.
Okay.
So there's proficiency, which are like the charcuterie board events, and then the star levels is they taste the foods, and there's a little bit more components that go into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Congratulations, everyone.
Yes.
Ariane, good catch on the certificate.
7 RB students have passed the Adobe Certified Professional Exams in either Photoshop, Illustrator, or Visual Design. This is a huge achievement, as Adobe professional certifications are industry-recognized credentials that validate advanced skills in digital design and image editing. It is more than a test. It's a demonstration of professional level proficiency in a tool that's essential to countless creative and technical careers. Congratulations to the following students. Lucas Curie, Photoshop. Liliana Nieto, Photoshop, Illustrator, and Visual Design.
Nice.
Andres Pineda, Photoshop. Meli Navarro, Photoshop. Roberto Martinez, Photoshop. Bennett Conan, Illustrator and Visual Design. And Alfredo Herrera, Illustrator and Visual Design. And I would like to invite our teacher, Miss Patty Sarkady. Come on up, Miss Sarkady.
Hello, hi everyone. Very honored to be here. Very proud of the students that have been awarded the certification. It's not just about technical skill, because I know it is about technical skill, but it's also about the dedication and the creativity that these students possess, the real world application that they could put for their certification. And it's just truly real world readiness for the future of our students. So I'm so proud of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I would like to congratulate the following wrestlers. State placer Isaiah Gonzalez. And state qualifiers Tony Lombardo and Nick O'Connor. Coach Kirby cannot be here, but it was a pleasure seeing these two young men wrestle. I got to see them at regionals, at sectionals, downstate, and they represented themselves, their families, and our school very well. They had an outstanding performance, and their name will be forever etched in the Wrestling Hall of Fame downstate. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations to senior Cameron Mercer on being named to the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association Class 4A Third Team All-State. Cameron's career was one for the record books, finishing with 1,415 points, fourth in school history, a school record of 213 three-pointers, 70 career wins, second all-time. He was also named the 2026 Upstate 8 East Division Conference Player of the Year. We are proud of everything Cam has accomplished at RB and can't wait to see him for the future. And what's next? And now I would like to invite, we have student guests, Jesse Juniper. I'm going to take a seat, please. Joe, are you here? We were just at the track. I used to start. Okay? Yes. So, our board members, we have two students here who are part of our dual enrollment program at Triton. So they're here today to share information about the program and their experience.
Great. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Juniper, and I'm a junior here, and I'm enrolled at Triton doing the special education program, and I want to be a special ed teacher. And some of the things that I have been able to do while being enrolled at Triton is I've gone to different schools to be able to do like observations and stuff like that. And I've also been able to, first of all, see how like college life is like, which was a very big change. And I've also been able to go to like future educator conferences, which were very interesting and fun. And I've gone to different like colleges in Illinois to see what their education program is like. And yeah, it's like a really great experience. I have 2 years of it, so we'll do it this year and then next year. And
So you're a junior now?
Yeah.
So you'll do it both junior and senior year? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And Juniper, what's your schedule like? So you take classes here in the morning?
No, I take my Triton classes in the morning, and then I come here and take 3 classes, and yeah, I have that every day.
How many classes at Triton are you taking?
2. Okay, so I have one on Monday, Wednesday, and one on Tuesday, Thursday, and then one on Friday, which is like a career readiness class. It's not through Triton, it's through like DVR. And DVR is where I do most of the educator conferences and the college tours and stuff like that.
Wonderful. Well, we need good teachers, and that's a
Yeah.
exciting springboard for you.
Yeah.
So do these courses also help when you matriculate into a 4-year college? Will you already then be started with some credits?
Yeah, a lot of the colleges in Illinois, they transfer, but if I wanted to go out of state, sometimes they don't transfer, but even if they don't transfer, they look really good. And I get like a basic knowledge of what I'll be doing once I go to a 4-year.
Makes you realize if you want to go into that as a career, right? That was the
Yeah.
whole point. We're offering that to our students.
Yeah, and I was worried about it for a little bit. It's definitely a big change having to like be a high schooler in these college classes with older kids, but it's been very beneficial and I really enjoy doing it.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Hello, my name is Jesse Hajak. I'm enrolled in the welding program at Triton. The welding program has allowed me to weld better. I had already a background in welding, like through just in my garage and stuff like that.
Good interest.
But it's allowed me to weld better. I've been able to do more projects of
Are you a junior or a senior?
I'm a senior.
You're a senior, okay.
Jesse, I seen you at the trades fair 2 years in a row. Are you thinking about going into the trades too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, this was one, it looks great on the application. I would like to go to 150 as a heavy equipment operator or mechanic or pipe fitters,
Okay.
welding.
And you had sent me an email. We're going to work on getting you some reference letters. I talked about that. So, and what's your schedule like, Jesse? Same thing, classes
Same
in the
thing.
morning?
I have 2 classes, Monday, Wednesday, then Tuesday, Thursday, and then 3 classes. That's the
At RB.
At RB.
Does the program help you get a certificate, or does it help you make connections with the particular union you're interested in?
So, it doesn't really give us connections, but it gives us a certificate. But it's allowed me to make connections at Triton that know people at unions. And one professor that has really made a humongous impact on me and trying to help me.
So good networking, it sounds like. Great.
We're proud of both of you guys. And Dr. Freitas bringing you forward tonight was a great idea because we like to get these types of updates because we talk about our dual enrollment program and our dual credit, but the fact that you two are taking college and high school classes at the same time and the way you're able to speak about it tonight, you're a step ahead, so keep up the great work, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you both.
And last but not least, board, Joseph Albers, a student that is not here at the moment. He's the first student to be part of the fire science program. He wants to be an EMT and firefighter
Great.
locally. Great young man. He's a wrestler. He's a track star. He was out there a few minutes ago. But, all these students, have demonstrated gratitude, for the board, supporting, this path. Because at RB, we believe in multiple paths for success. So thank you to the Board of Education for making this happen for our Bulldogs.
Good
Thank you,
job,
Dr.
both of you.
Freitas. And do we have SA here tonight? Why did I
Yes,
not see
Student
them?
Association.
Yeah, they're here.
Did you?
I saw them coming in.
Student Association.
Oh, there, okay. Thank you. I was like looking and I thought maybe I was mistaken. We can give them a second to clear the room so we're not stepping on everyone's toes.
Micah, I'm proud of you.
Oh, they are. They appear.
Oh, yeah.
Connect them. I'll connect them with you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Student Association, it's your last of the year?
Yes.
We'll be sad to see you go, but it's exciting. Well, you'll be back.
Exciting things.
Yes.
Because, hi everyone, thank you for having us. Unfortunately, no other of the current exec board members could be here tonight because they have other commitments with sports or clubs. But I do bring 2 of the newly elected board members for next year, so
Wonderful.
I'll allow them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Avery Blair. I will be the secretary of the executive board next year.
Hi, I'm Olivia Scavuto, and I'm going to be the director of communications for the exec board next year.
So look forward to seeing them around next year, because I'm sure you will. And then I know we haven't seen you for 2 months, right, since February. So SA has been very busy. Starting off with long time ago, before spring break, beginning of March, we held a fundraiser at Bolero where we raised $285 to donate to the Share Food, Share Love food pantry in Brookfield. So we are very grateful to everyone that attended and donated to that. And then right before spring break, we had our spring scavenger hunt where students could find bulldogs hidden around the school, bring them to the office, and get a little goodie bag. Everyone really liked that. It was a really good way to bring up spirits right before spring break, get everyone excited. We've done that in the past, and we are planning to do that in the future again. So that was really fun. And then after spring break, we just finished our Pop Top collection last week. That went on for 3 weeks, and we got over 200,000 Pop Tops, which we will be donating to the Ronald McDonald House. So road to 3 million, we're getting there. So we will be donating them sometime this week. And additionally, on Friday, we have our 3rd and unfortunately last blood drive of the year. It's not going to be in the East Gym this time. It will just be in the trucks outside. So we're not sure how many donors we're going to have exactly because we don't have confirmation on the trucks that are going to be there. But we know it should be around 20 at least. So exciting. And then we also attended, we had about 15 students from SA attend York High School to go to their music bingo event, which we enjoyed so much that we had a music bingo at our following SA meeting for SA members. And we are planning to do a music bingo for the whole RV community in the fall next year. So we look forward to planning that and having more information about that for you guys. And just wrapping up the year, everything's kind of winding down. We have a good bit of volunteer opportunities coming up, more than we've had in the past. We have this Friday our CSS event, which we have done before, but it's an auction. We have about 14 members from SA going, so that'll be this Friday. And then on Sunday, there's also a breakfast in Kiwanis Park that he has some SA members attending to help volunteer at. And then the following Saturday, we have a food packing volunteer opportunity that SA members are going to also. So we've been doing a lot, and then just to finish up the year, all we have left is really just to plan for freshman orientation in August, get people to help out with graduation, and then figure out the homecoming theme next year. So that's about it.
That's a lot. Avery and Olivia, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Who's
stepping in.
responsible for counting all the Pop Tops?
We
That sounds like a lot.
We have a method. We weigh it.
Wait, yes. Seems hard.
Thank
Great.
you very much.
Congratulations, and I'm assuming you'll work with Dr. Freitas and have the schedule for next year, so we look forward to hearing from you guys as the school year progresses. So thank you both.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you. Moving on, there's no president's report. We do have a superintendent's report.
Senate Bill 637, no new updates at this time. Still awaiting a response from the zoo regarding its discussions with the foresters. There is still working through some tree mitigation requests and alternative site plans. So I will update the board more as I get information. I do have a short update and close in regards to the lease agreement. district goals in collaboration with the administrative team. SMART goals for the 26-27 school year are designed to align directly with the district goals adopted in December. The board will also receive an update tonight from the division heads summarizing their work with the academic departments and how it aligns with the district goals and SMART goals and what they're going to be working on for next year. End of the year events. We had a good prom this past weekend. Commencement for the class of 26 is scheduled for Friday, May 22nd as a reminder to the board. I encourage all district stakeholders to regularly be checking the website for updates. There's a nice one-page bulletin on the website with all the end of the year activities. From a Board of Education perspective, if we shift toward the end of the year, we'll begin shifting our focus towards closing out the current year and initiating summer projects in the FY20 budget, FY27 planning for the budget and projects for FY27, and like we're looking at tonight, the goals. Upcoming board agendas will include the budget development, the review of essential policies for the 26-27 school year, and there needs to be a couple. I put several, but there's at least 3 I know for sure off the top of my head that need to be scheduled in May that Tammy will be scheduling. As addressed in the bottom, here we had a technology and curriculum meeting that occurred April 17th, so most of the information you're going to hear tonight from the division heads and from the administration was presented to the Academic Advisory Council on April 17th. Facilities advisory needs to be scheduled for May so that we could review summer projects and the rental agreement to be approved in July. Finance advisory will probably have that between the meeting in May and the meeting in June to review the tentative budget. And then the Policy Advisory Council will have a meeting between May and June so that we could approve the policy 121, I believe it is, for June. And that concludes the superintendent report, and there were no questions submitted on the superintendent report.
Thank you, Dr. Skinkis. Dr. Spatana.
Good evening. I have a little bit of a lengthy report, so bear with me tonight. First, I'll provide the board with financial information for the month of March, which is 75% of our fiscal year. In the monthly summary report, the total operating revenue for the month was $3,822,023, 88% from property tax, 11% from evidence-based funding, our state funding, and 1% from local revenue. The total operating expenditures for the month were $2,533,091, 79% towards salary and benefits, 8% on operations and maintenance, and 5% on transportation. The monthly summary of revenue shows that the district has received 59.4% of our budgeted revenue for the year. This excludes the working cash bond proceeds that were then transferred to capital projects. This percent is significantly lower than this time of last year at about 90% due to the timing of property tax. I do have an update. As of today, we received additional money in property tax. So we're about 58% of the 2025 levy. So we're about 15 million of the 26 million from that levy. But the most really important thing that the board probably is interested in when comparing our budget to actual for property tax for this year, or fiscal year, the administration estimates that we're probably about 1.6 million short in revenue that we're still hoping to collect between now and June 30th. This is an estimate since April collections are still coming in, right? We were a little surprised to receive about $1.3 million today. And it's a little hard because Cook County's financial software is not up and running yet, so we don't have, we can't necessarily track whether or not it's from the 24 levy or the 25 levy. But the most important thing is we're getting money that we anticipated and needed. For fiscal year 27, it's anticipated that the district will not receive the August collection on time. It could be a month late, it could be longer than that. At this point, we don't know. So you may have noticed in the Township Treasurer report, we're going to have to invest more short-term options, so that will change the investment income that we're able to receive.
Kristen, a quick question. So if all the money for this year does not come in by the end of the year, is it a hard close then for our budget, and then our budget is just short, and then next year's budget will reflect additional money?
Yes, so our budget's on a cash basis. So yes, if we don't get it by June 30th, This budget is considered short then in terms of revenue, but ultimately then it would hit next fiscal year. So yes, on an audit basis, it would adjust for that. The summary of revenue shows the district has spent 73.4% of the budgeted expenditures for the year, excluding the working cash bond. This amount's pretty similar to this time last year at 73% as well. And then next, as always, I provided the statement of revenue and expenditures for the board accounts for the month of March, and there were several questions. The first was on board book page 13. The property tax revenue is at 8%. We typically budget higher for this because we can't always anticipate how many tax appeals we're going to get, but due to the software conversion at Cook County, it's my understanding they haven't processed any of the refund requests, so this is likely to remain significantly under budget for us this year, but that's not a bad thing, because that just eats away at the revenue then that we receive. On that page as well, fees for the music programs at 288% in revenue. This is just a coding error. It's being corrected to go into fees for band uniforms, the fees that parents pay for band classes go into a different account. So it's just an accounting issue that needs to be corrected.
Okay.
On page 14, cell tower rental fees, we're at 119% of what we budgeted. This is due to we received more money than anticipated. In July, we received a back payment from one of the vendors for a billing issue that we weren't expecting to necessarily hit this fiscal year. So that's why we got additional revenue in cell towers. There were 3 questions submitted together for special education. One was on revenue, and then the other 2 were on expenditure accounts. They all need to be recoded, but I can go into a little bit more detail. Medical, page 14, Medicaid matching funds are at 176%. There's 2 Medicaid funds. Some money just needs to be transferred to the other account.
Okay.
Those accounts are off by 1 number. So we're in the process of doing that. If you look at the accounts combined, we're still chasing about $10,000 in revenue for Medicaid, which we receive for some special education services. On page 20, special education tuition is at 100. This is an expenditure account now. It's at 187%. This account is actually not over budget. It needs to be placed into the outplaced tuition account, and the township treasurer is in the process of reclassifying that. 21, special ed transportation is almost at 200% over budget, but again, we are waiting on the township treasurer to complete a journal adjustment for this account, so that won't be over budget either. The next question submitted was on various pages for interest on investment. The question was, where does this money go? What can we use the money towards? Do we have a history? So there are line items in the budget for this, and that's all posted on the website, but this just goes into that particular fund. So the money that we get from investing in the ed fund goes back into the ed fund, and it's used to offset all the expenses in the ed fund. So it's not necessarily earmarked for one purpose or another. The only flexibility that we have is the money that we receive in interest on debt service every year. You'll see us in June ask the board to do a transfer of interest from that to the ed fund, because that's our biggest fund, and we're allowed to transfer it to the biggest fund in need.
So we could use the money that we earn while this money's there growing, making interest, wherever we need it then in the school.
Well, for that particular fund, so we earn money in they're like separate checking accounts. So we earn money in our ed fund, we can use that money in our ed fund. We earn money in O&M, basically balance in O&M, and we can use money to offset projects or expenses in O&M,
So the
et cetera.
4.5, I think she's asking, the 4.5 and the 3 million, while we wait for those projects to proceed, they're sitting in capital development or capital projects, Fund 60. So the interest goes back to Fund 60?
Correct.
Okay. And we could use that interest to offset costs?
Correct.
So that would help the project then. We'll get a little extra money to finish up whatever we need for the project then, right?
Correct.
All right.
Page 17, bowling fees. I think there was confusion on this. This was an expenditure account, not a revenue account.
Oh.
So there was a budget for one coach in each for boys and for girls, and this year we had 2 coaches. I try to anticipate where we're going to have additional coaches based off of participation, but that's a year-by-year thing. Page 20, supplies for the cafeteria. Again, this was an expenditure account, not a revenue account. They needed things for the back of the house, more pans, racks, things of that nature. They typically don't spend any money out of this account, so that account is a little over budget. Lastly, in terms of the board accounts, page 21, municipal retirement. Again, this is a expenditure account. There's one account that's over budget, and then several accounts that are under. So as a whole, account is fine, and that's kind of how we budget for municipal retirement. So this one account is over budget because some of our classified staff have done more extracurricular work, working games, things of that nature, and so as a result, we have to pay more money to IMRF. The other reason this account is hard to budget for as a whole is because it's an IMRF account, and so we get a new rate for IMRF that we have to pay for our employees every January. So when I'm doing the budget in the summer, I don't know what that rate's going to be for the second half of the year. So I do my best to predict, but we don't always hit the mark on that. Moving on, student activity account, I provided that for the board's information. And then I have 2 other reports tonight that have some questions as well. The first is I provided for the board on board book page 28. Quest Foods is our cafeteria food provider. They are proposing a 6% increase across the board for all items in the cafeteria for the next school year. This results in items increasing anywhere from 5 cents to 40 cents. I included the pricing list for the board. In my tenure, they've only done a flat increase one other time. Usually it's whatever items they feel need to be adjusted. But they're asking for a 6% increase because the 6% comes from December. In December, the consumer price index for food away from home was 4.1%, and then an additional 1.9% to address ongoing labor costs tied to cost of living and them being able to attract and staff the cafeteria.
So I wanted to actually ask our student advisors if they had any thoughts on this. They've had a chance to look at it. To me, it seems like a good chance for them to weigh in on thoughts on the pricing in the cafeteria. Do you feel it's generally fair, or the selection, some feedback?
I do think that the increasing prices have been a little bit of a difficulty in the past few years. I've heard from my peers and expressing opinions, the same opinions as myself, that it has been a little bit of a, we've definitely noticed it, and it's not like little things here and there, like people notice it and it does affect, it's not, for some people it's obviously not anything big, but you never know what situation different people are in, and so looking at the prices here, it's only like 40 cents maximum, so I don't think this should be too big of a deal, but I do think that increasing prices as a general thing has been something that students are not very happy with.
I think we're probably seeing that at the grocery store too, right?
And I also wanted to ask, like, how would this affect like low-income students at RB? Like, because I know there's like a lunch program here. How would this affect them?
Great question.
So those students would still either, if they qualify for free lunch, would still get free lunch or reduced lunch at $1.
Do we have a report? Because when I was looking at the menu looks quite extensive, and I was just wondering, are some students using lunch money to buy some of the chips and the cookies? Like, do we have a kind of an accounting how many of some of these products are sold? Are we selling 100 cookies to one sandwich, or is there an imbalance there where it's...
Well, I think we pay Quest to manage that, right?
Well, it's something we can monitor. I'm just curious to see where our students are spending their money. I think that's an area to monitor.
Yeah, so I don't ask for that data on a regular basis. Quest certainly has it, and they use that information to drive whether or not they should be offering,
What's up?
right, a variety of cookies, or, you know, the tacos that they, you know, tried to sell didn't sell, so let's, you know, change the menu and offer something else. So that's not something that I particularly dive into on a regular basis. Parents can dive into that if, for their individual student, if they pay with a card, their student ID card, and they have that information at their fingertips. So there was another question submitted as to whether they considered dropping off certain items in lieu of a blanket increase. So they routinely already look at that to see what the cost is to offer the item and how much they can offer it and how well it's selling, as to whether or not they want to continue to offer that, or if there's a particular increase in a certain area, for example, eggs or something of that nature, then they use that to adjust. But they try to maintain the biggest range of choices and menu options as they can, because that keeps students happy, as well as making sure that they continue to offer the students' favorites.
I do notice also that we have our coffee bar there too. And the coffee bar is similar to Starbucks prices. It's not cheap. Could that also kind of influence some of the spending? If a student buys a coffee, that could reduce your lunch budget for the day. Is that affecting it, or is the coffee bar only open after school?
Well, we haven't seen a dip in sales, so I don't know if I quite understand the question. Coffee bars open before school, during lunch, and after school, and it doesn't just sell coffee. It also sells a lot of grab-and-go items. For example, the coffee bar is what's open for breakfast, and that's where students can get a bagel or things of that nature. After school, it's popular among athletes and students that stay for clubs and activities. It typically dies down at 3:20, and it's a lot of like grab and go, and then they can have healthier options if they grab and go a salad or some of the other options. So it's better than having students rely on the vending machines after school.
Okay, so being around young people a lot, many students might have a $10 budget, but if you spend $5 or $6 on coffee, that leaves you $4, and then you might say, I don't have enough for lunch. And so I was just trying to get a feel for, is this the situation that's happening?
But how is that? I don't.
But that would
how's
be.
that our?
Well, because when we're talking about the cost, raising the prices might not be as much of a problem. It might be just how students are budgeting their money.
Right.
But I think some of this, to level set, we're not voting on this, right? We hire Quest to manage this program. Right. They set the prices. This is a comprehensive report. I think Dr. Smetana mentioned we've seen onesie, twosie increases. I was surprised to see the 6% across the board. To me, that I thought there could have been a little bit more thoughtfulness to their increases.
When
right?
was the last time they did a blanket increase? Has it been a while?
It's been a while. It was tied to COVID. Was the last time that they had done an increase, and then our cafeteria manager remembers one prior to that in her tenure here. So they don't do it very often. It's probably the third.
Is there a daily special?
There is. It's $5.50. You can get a drink, a vegetable, a fruit, and a meal. And so that's
Dr.
very
Smetana has a
reasonable.
Font of information on the menu options. I'm impressed.
So it's a very reasonable option for students. And if parents have concerns about how students are spending their money, they can log on and see the activity in their card and adjust accordingly.
And I would like to remind the Board of Education, no student will ever go hungry here at RB. Whether we have to step on my administrative team or educators that have, every student at RB gets to eat, And if we cross that bridge and there's no money, we'll figure it out at the moment.
We even have a procedure in place that if a student forgets a lunch for the day, they can come up and ask, and we'll give them something. Now, we don't let them pick anything from the cafeteria. There's limits, but they can get something for the day, and we have some money set aside for that. So, I think we have a lot of different options for students in the cafeteria. Moving on, Township Treasurer Report. They held their quarterly board meeting on April 22nd. This is the longest meeting of the 4 that we have every year. There were several questions submitted on this report as well. On board with page 59, the new budget software, this is an expense that's just a pass-through. So one of the new districts that came onto the township treasurer last year, we only had one district that wasn't on Infinite Visions, which is our financial software. They are transitioning to that next year, so there's a lot of startup costs. So township treasurer has to pay for it to get a discount, but that district, District 105, is paying for the full amount.
Got it.
So it's just a pass-through.
Okay, I wasn't clear from the way it was in the packet, so thank you.
Yeah, the agendas are usually very brief, and the presentations are very brief in terms of the PowerPoints. Page 92 in board book, flow list is a new budgeting software. It's really an AI software. We received a presentation on it. There was no interest. It's not needed. It's very expensive. We can currently do everything the software presents with our programs that we have. It's just not AI. So but we received a presentation on that back in January. And then board book page 96. 209 Medical, their district is self-insured. They had double-digit increases. They wanted to see what other districts in the township treasurer were doing for their insurance. So
it was informational. It was not again, the way they do their agenda is often
yes
brief.
Yes.
So thank you.
They're
a work in progress.
We're working. When you put a bunch of CSBOs together on a board, we are all providing lots of feedback when it comes to those things.
Is 209, what is that, proviso?
209 is proviso.
Proviso, okay.
And then lastly, there was a question about our cyber carrier and how that would play into the township treasurer's office for coverage. So the township treasurer does have coverage. I'm working through this with our insurance agent because so I haven't gotten an official answer, but in working with the township treasurer, there were 2 incidents in the past in other districts that fell solely to the district. So it depends on what the issue is and kind of where it stems from, I think.
I was just thinking more from the application perspective. If we can also say that the treasurer's office has cyber coverage, that's got to help the application.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to reduce any cost.
Okay.
But it's just more clarification on the policy of there might be another primary source of recovery.
Okay.
If that makes.
Yeah. No, I think that was my only reason I brought it up.
So I did receive the township treasurer's policy in full and forwarded it to our insurance so they could look through that and work through that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I believe that concludes my report tonight.
Dr. Freitas, your report's next, and then you have 2 additional reports. I would say we do athletics before goals after your report.
Of course, yes.
And we can get into, I think that the goals report's going to take some more time.
Yes, sir. All right. Good evening again, honorable board members, and Dr. Skink is our superintendent. Here's my principal's report. Believe it or not, in 3 weeks, final exams are coming up, the 18th through the 21st.
You guys taking final exams?
Seniors, Hannah and Arvin, you have exemptions, so you don't have to take your finals. The quarter ends on the 21st. For school culture and operations, in the month of April, we had 17 students apply to be the next student advisors to the Board of Education. That is a record.
That is a
number.
record.
And it's the first time we have to do a round 1, a round 2 interview because we have so many. So we're in the process of that, and I believe we have 2 board members who will be engaging in the round 2 interviews. Thank you very much for that. For the month of May, the class of 2026 bulletin is on our website. It's been emailed on Parent Square. There's a list of events that our student board member will speak on it shortly. Our summer school and athletic camp registration is open. So for those students that want to take advantage of some of our academic summer school opportunity or athletic, everything's open for registration. The 11th through the 15th is Mental Health Awareness Week. On May 18th, the PTO will be doing the final survival packs. So that's where parents get together, they fill up snack packs and give it to the students so they have, some energy, some carbs, some sugars as they take their final exam. So they have energy and they're ready for it. On the 22nd of May, we have commencement starting at 6:30. Students are required to be here at 5:30. For activities and athletics, this evening we had to change the date, so pardon here, but on the 28th today because of rain. We had Boys and Girls Track Senior Night where we celebrated our seniors. We also have a Girls Lacrosse Senior Night this evening as well. And we have the Hauser Orchestra concert. So very busy day this evening. On the 30th of April, we have our Boys Tennis Senior Night and the tennis courts at 4 p.m. Also on the 30th, we have our Spring Band and Orchestra concert, 7 p.m. in the auditorium. We will have also the College Athletic Commitment Ceremony. That's in the morning, 7 a.m. in the main gym. For May on the 2nd, we have Girls Soccer Senior Day this weekend, 10:30 a.m. at the Canal Athletic Complex or Stadium. May 4th, we have Girls Water Polo Senior Night, 5:30 on the pool deck. On the 5th, we have Boys Volleyball Senior Night, 5:15 in the main gym. And on the 18th, we have Boys Lacrosse Senior Night, 6:15 p.m. at the stadium. And there was a few questions submitted regarding invite-only events such as senior awards and the local scholarship breakfast. You know, the reason we do that is because, you know, we only want to support the students that are getting the award, so to speak, right? So we invite those students, we invite their families. We don't turn a guest away. If they want to bring a friend or an aunt or a grandfather, they're welcome to come as well. But we invite the students that are being recognized that evening, so we don't have a student that's not being recognized sit and wait and feel empty. We don't want everyone to leave empty-handed, you know? So we're bringing all the awardees.
But isn't the senior awards night a little more broader? Because you have, you know, in the past we'd recognize everyone who took an AP class, we'd recognize all the people who got a 5. I mean, there were broad recognitions, there were narrow recognitions.
We haven't done that, I don't think, for a while.
No. And I was going to say, I mean, this evening we recognize not only scholars, but we recognize athletes as well, you know, this evening. So I feel like it's just part of a fact. We always recognize both scholars and, you know, athletes publicly. You know, we stream events online, and we have them in our newsletters as well.
And there's the Apollo Awards as well.
Yeah, there's the Apollo Awards for music as well. So, I mean, you know, I feel like we've done always a pretty good job in honoring our kiddos.
So for the senior award night, though, anybody could come, though, if they wanted to. So if somebody had a friend, their friend, if they
We're not turning down. If you want to celebrate your buddy and the party, I mean, we're not going to turn anyone away. But again, we're not going to invite every senior because there's some senior that's not going to, you know, may not get an award.
All right. Well, I mean, it used to be open and people self-chose, you know, they just came. So I just, we do a good job at recognizing our athletes and everything. It just seemed to also let that be in public, too. Yeah.
And that concludes my principal's report. Now I would like to hand it over to our student board members. Aria, Hannah?
Okay, so under teaching and learning, starting off strong from May 4th to 15th, we have AP exam testings, which we are not exempt for. And yeah, I just hope we all do well.
And then for school culture and operations, grant applications for the RBEF are due on May 1st. This is available for rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and it's for any activity occurring from May 22nd of this year to May 15th next year. So this could be anything from summer camps, intensive programs, anything. I really am grateful for this because I was able to secure a grant for my dental program at Stony Brook University in New York last year in Long Island. It really I got an additional scholarship from them, but here this was the big scholarship, drove down the cost a lot, and I was able to attend that. It really gave me a glimpse into what my future is going to be like, and I realized that dentistry is something they want to do, and this will allow other people to have that opportunity too. Whether I know lots of people use it for theater, different someone in my grade went to some military thing to see if she wanted to go to military. Great. Lots of different things.
And those are due this week.
May 1st, yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then on the 1st, we also have cap, gown, and graduation ticket distribution during all lunch periods in the atrium. Just to go along with this, when students are allowed to decorate their grad cap is however they'd like, as long as it's adhering to guidelines, nothing inflammatory or disrespectful or anything like that. And then for not decoration, but the things that go along with everything, we have different academic distinctions based on where you place within the class. Cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude have different colors associated with it. There's also different distinctions for things like NHS, Tri-M, Spanish Honor Society, National Honor Society for Dance. And then we have the Illinois State Scholar Honor, which is set through mail to the recipients, and then Seal by Literacy for anyone who passed that exam.
On May 1st, Student Association Mobile Truck Blood Drive will be happening 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And Violet said earlier it's going to be outside. On May 5th, the Spring Choir Concert is going to be in the auditorium from 7 to 8 p.m. And I'm really excited because it's like the second to last concert for most of the seniors, and then we have the Apollo Awards, so it's going to be really fun.
And on the 13th, we have the local scholarship breakfast, like was mentioned before, at 7 a.m. in the auditorium to help honor high-achieving members of the class of 2026 and award those recipients with some help for their future. And then on the 13th, we also have the Spring Rock Band concert for 7 to 8 in the Little Theater.
On the 14th at 7 a.m. in room 201, there's going to be the RB Fine Arts Recognition Ceremony, which is a great opportunity to recognize achievements of our artists here, musicians, and other fine arts students. And on the same day, we have a yearbook pickup at 3:05 in the Field House. So they have like the yearbook set up by last name, so you just go into your line and pick it up.
Then on the 14th, we have Senior Award Night at 6 p.m. in the main gym. Hannah and I will both be there. This is to help honor the high-achieving members of our class again, sponsored by the building administration and the PTO. It includes an award presentation, senior performances, and a reception. And on the 15th, we have the annual theater banquet from 4 to 8 in the auditorium and cafeteria. I'm really looking forward to this because this is my last one, but it's to celebrate another year of amazing theater RB. Just a little shout out to Ms. Fisher and Ms. Johnson. They worked so incredibly hard to put on the productions over here. More time than I feel like anyone here would even have the time to do. But it's just it's amazing what they do and how much they care about the arts over here and support everyone within it. And then maybe it depends, sometimes it hasn't always happened, but they do sometimes announce a play for next year, so we'll see what we're going to be doing.
On May 18th, we have our senior sunrise at 6 a.m. Either going to be in the stadium or the field house, depending on the weather. And of course, we'll be wearing our college gear, signing yearbooks, and I hope, not crying.
Then on the 22nd, we have graduation rehearsal at 11 a.m. in the main gym. This is mandatory for all the graduates prior to real graduation.
And then before the rehearsal at 10 a.m., we're going to be having our senior breakfast. This is a change from the senior picnic. And I just want to say thank you to PTO because they're always feeding us before big events like this. They also fed us for this final season, so yeah.
And then we have commencement on the 22nd for the class of 2026 at 6:30 in the main gym to help end our time at RB and celebrate what's going to come next.
And other activities in athletics, this is a repeat, but on May 7th, we have our college athlete commitment ceremony in the main gym. Just another exciting time for our seniors and their coaches and their families to help them along this entire process.
This is like the busiest 3 weeks of your life, right? And for the parents as well.
This isn't written on here, but before our last meeting, Miss Arcady reached out to me to kind of mention the entrepreneurship fair. I wasn't here, unfortunately. I told her I would, but I was visiting my future college. But the entrepreneurship fair, it was amazing. It was honestly, Hannah and I walked into in there and we were like, this is actually so cool. We saw all the people selling their merchandise, whether it was clothes, cookies. There was this one girl who was selling cookies and they looked so professional and they were so good. And it was just so cool to see all the students up there, give them a real life, real kind of test the waters, see how to brand your stuff, pricing, how all that works. And it gives them a really safe, supportive environment. Miss Arcady is an amazing teacher. I've never had her for any of her classes, but my friends that have had her adore her, and she's just such an amazing woman who puts so much into it, whether it's business club or helping students do things like this. The entrepreneurship fair was a real success, and I hope to see it continue in years to come.
Great. Thank you. That's a lot. So we're rooting for you guys. We'll see you at graduation. It's very exciting. We are asking the student advisors to do their final surveys, correct?
Correct. I believe they finished their survey, so we should have them for you at our next board meeting.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So you're not quite done. You're not quite off the hook yet. Dr. Freitas.
Now I'd like to invite our Assistant Principal of Athletics, Mr. Phil Torres, to give the winter summary and beta play reports. Mr. Torres.
Good evening, everybody. If you can look at the reports, I'll just give a brief summary, highlights of the winter sports that you guys looked at over, and then obviously I'm available for any questions. We had another successful winter sports season. That's kudos to our student athletes and our coaches. We earned conference championships in both boys wrestling and boys basketball. Our cheer team took second at the ICCA championships. Our POM team also took second at IDTA State in the AAA Lyrical Division. And our POMs team also got to beat the cold weather and go to Florida to qualify for UDA Nationals in February. And so they had a really awesome time and good trip there. Two POM team member also advanced to the IDTA State in the solo division, Amelia Royer and Isabella Kirsch, with Isabella finishing 9th out of 68 performers. Boys wrestling, it's kept the status quo. They won regionals again for the 3rd straight year. So that continued success has been great. We also qualified 3 wrestlers to the state meet this past season, with Isaiah Gonzalez finishing 5th in all-state down at that meet. We had 10 students qualify for sectionals across gymnastics and boys and girls wrestling. We also had 25 students earn all-conference recognition, along with 2 honorable mentions, and then we had 99 students reach all-academic, all-conference, which is an unweighted GPA of 3.5 or higher. So they're getting it done not only in their respective courts and mats, but they're doing a phenomenal job in the classroom as well. If you look at the reports, I did remember from last year, we did separate out girls wrestling, so now we have that number separated moving forward. We'll continue that path. Overall, the numbers are keeping steady. Small dips, nothing out of the ordinary in terms of trends or anything. It's just year to year stuff that some kids are participating in certain sports versus others. Overall, we're on pretty much the same pace in terms of the fees collected, and waivers are about the same.
I believe there was a question.
Mr. Torres, our Board of Education, I believe, inquired about girls' flag football.
Yes, so that is obviously an emerging sport. The big challenge here is space. So if we are able to secure that backfield and have space, I think that opens the door to having that. It's just we are so tight with space that having only one spot to host games and practices is challenging. Today I was running like a chicken with my head cut off. We pulled off a track meet, and there's girls lacrosse going on in this doubleheader right now. So the biggest challenge right now to adding that and doing it justice would be just having that additional space to be able to provide everywhere for a practice area.
Is that a fall or a spring sport?
It is a fall
sport.
Do our conference schools have it?
Our conference schools have it, I think.
Some conference schools, right?
I think there's some that are just starting it this coming fall.
Okay.
So they'll be, when we're ready and we have the space and everything's in order, we can flow right into a conference schedule and go. I do hesitate to just say, hey, we're going to go and play games, because some schools have done that. Some schools have done that in our conference, and some schools where I'm friends with AD, and they found a uphill battle and losing games pretty badly by just saying, hey, we're going to go, and we're talking like 70-0 and stuff. So I would hesitate to necessarily try to go full bore, and I kind of want to maybe say, hey, let's start as a club and let's see the interest and build the capacity to get towards games. And that's not to say that we couldn't reach out to some of our conference opponents and schedule kind of like exhibition matches for us, but it could be a match for them, and start to get a taste of it and build it that way. Because it is growing and it is competitive at that high level. There's some really good teams, especially in our area. I know Willowbrook is one of the top teams in the state.
Negatives, well, so we have a pattern to follow, like we did at lacrosse, we did with bowling. We usually go a year volunteer club type where the kids can come out just to see where participation's at, maybe some exhibition matches. And then when the board votes to shift it to, if the board does vote, what would be the impact on the other fall sports? Besides space.
Yeah, unlike bowling was really a niche sport. It didn't necessarily take wrestlers or basketball players and say, oh, I'm not doing that sport, I'm doing bowling. Flag football probably will have some impacts on volleyball, cross country, golf. I was actually just talking with our swim coach this afternoon. He goes, I might lose some girls if flag football happens. So there is some risk of kind of other sports eating each other with that addition and adding it into fall. That obviously we want to try to provide that opportunity for kids if it's there. But there will be some, like on this fall report, swim may have 25. Well, when we add girls flag football, maybe that's down to 18 now. And so it will impact other programs when we do add it.
How many sports do we offer total, Phil?
29, so that would be the 30th. And that the good news is when I am at conferences and with other ADs and I tell them that we have 1,650 students roughly, and we have almost 30 sports, they almost drop to the floor as to like, wait, how do you even get that many kids out with those numbers? So they're very impressed at our students that are super involved in everything, and obviously gracious to the board's willingness to allow us to have all those sports.
Are there any options for any temporary fields to get the program up and running, such as like Allert? I know that there's some fields that the Junior Bulldogs use over there for their football.
Potential. Some of those fields are not necessarily in the best shape. Being public fields, not fenced-in fields, it's hard to maintain. And there are soccer programs over there in addition to the Bulldogs feeder program. We were exploring maybe like some lower level soccer games over there to ease, especially in the spring, but they let the football team use the soccer field over there. And like even the soccer feeder, I think it's AYSO, they weren't even using that field last spring and summer because it was just torn to shreds. So yes, there's potential, but I've walked some of those fields trying to figure out, okay, can we do a lower level soccer game there? And I'm like, I don't know if we can pull that off. And with the field conditions, I don't feel safe putting my name on it to, hey, go play a game over there, and then a kid gets hurt.
Are we now in our like new conferences for a full year?
This will be the second year.
Second year. And we feel that they're a good fit?
Yes. Being with all public schools is a mutual benefit, and it goes well beyond even the sports realm. I know Mr. Mannon and Dr. Freitas, it gives us 13 other schools to help problem solve with, and hey, what did you guys do for this? Did you guys have this issue come up? So it's more than sports or activities. It's an extension of, hey, have you had to deal with this before and help problem solve, or how do you attack certain issues? So it's been, I know our coaches are happy. Yes, some of the travel can be far, but I think overall, competitive-wise, we fit in nicely, and I think it's been a nice fit for the school.
Great.
Phil, we applied for that grant from the NFL or the Bears, right, for flag?
Correct, yes. And a big shout out to Mr. Mannon, so the Chicago Bears, go Bears. We received a grant with no strings attached, donation for $2,500.
So we have some initial startup money if we can get the space.
Uniforms, flag, we can start with the basics. So we have that in a pot dedicated.
So we have been looking at it. I know we talked about that.
Of course, boss, yep.
That's good news. Anything else for athletics? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Torres.
All right, district goals. Somebody want to wake those guys up over there? They're all looking at their phones.
Yeah, now I'd like to invite our assistant principals. Our assistant principal curriculum and instruction is Kylie Rehnquist. Assistant principal of student services.
You may need to bring your own chair.
Well, we're gonna go. We have the. Let me just introduce this real quick. So the board, Tammy, if you could pull that up also on the overhead. I want to find the. Under the principal's report, the district goals. So I know we had talked about, so you'll see there's an introduction here to newly adopted SMART goals. Again, these are just the SMART goals and the action steps we're looking to do. Miss Fletcher and I and Miss Molo, my assistant, worked on the chart. We got it down to 4 columns. We matched up the colors. Like, there's really not an easy way to put 4 things and all the action steps to SMART goal in one document. So while it looks small on that, I think it should be easier to read online.
We have some exceptional Adobe students here.
Yes.
Perhaps they could assist.
But I don't think they can make magic. A paper's still 8 by 11, so that was 8.5 by 11. So we're still kind of stretched a little thin there, but there's 4 goals. Remember, the board went 4 goals. All the 4 goals are looking through the equity lens. We have an academic goal, which will be in blue. The 2 administrators assigned that, obviously, are Ms. Lindquist and Ms. Augustine. Obviously, Dr. Freitas oversees that. The peach goal or pink goal is our communication goal. Dr. Freitas, Ms. Fletcher, and myself work on that. The green goal is our facilities goal, and then the purple goal listed is the finance goal. Dr. Smetana and myself handle the facilities and finance, and each of us will cover these quickly tonight. The longer one, though, will be the academic goal, because I also want the division heads to speak to the work they're doing and how the work they're putting in over the last school year and into next year, what their work will be focused on, aligns to the board goals. So I think it's probably cleaner to do the academic one first with the division heads and Ms. Lindquist and Ms. Augustine.
Is this still on if I stand here for just a second?
You could, sure. You have a teacher voice, so we're not worried
For those of you who
about
like and subscribe, this is not the Kylie show tonight, so I will not be talking that much. I apologize in advance. The 4 of them are going to do the action steps on the SEL academic goal, which is the first goal in your packet. What I'm going to hand you first, in the SMART goal where we talk about increasing each subgroup's proficiency where it pertains to college and career readiness indicators. There was a question submitted about what those college and career readiness indicators are. So I have a 1-pager that I'm going to hand out to you in a minute for your reference. The question also on the back part of that is which one of those indicators are we really tracking? When you see the handout, we're really tracking the academic indicators the most closely. Attendance is a part of this. GPA is a part of this. So there's a lot of things that go into what ISB considers to make a student college and career ready. So I'm going to hand that handout out first. This isn't something that the action steps speak to directly, but it gives you a nice understanding of what those college and career readiness indicators are from the state. And again, the ones that we are obviously tracking the most closely are the ones that deal with a student's proficiency on the ACT exam. So the front and the back side of that document just give you an idea, like I said, of what the state is tracking. So when we talk about wanting to increase our subgroups, college and career readiness, all of these factors play into what that looks like. So I will step aside and allow the 4 individuals, Beth and the 3 division heads, to talk action steps with regard to that SEL and academic goal. I'll have one more handout when we get to action step 3, so you guys can take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thanks
Hello.
for allowing us to be here and talk with everyone tonight. My name is Mark Helgeson, in case I know I've met every one of you at some point.
Did you hear their comments about the AP test?
I'm sorry?
Did you hear their comments about the AP test?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I told Aria very briefly, I was just waiting for him to speak effusively about me this evening as well. But I'll continue waiting, that's fine. So I'm the division head for humanities, which means I support the English department, social studies department, and world language department. And I'm here to talk about action step number 1. Teachers will administer at least 1 common assessment per quarter in all core content areas. This year, our work has focused on common assessments and common experiences. For example, let's just take the English department. This year, I've been teaching English 9 here almost my entire time. We've been a common reading team for the most part. It's 11 years here for me. We are going to expand that to English 10 next year, and then the following year, the 27-28 school year, that will also be common reading list at the American Lit level. With the transition to the ACT a couple of years ago, did provide us an opportunity to audit and realign our curriculums to the college and career readiness standards that are provided by the ACT. That work included new vertical alignment to the appropriate standards, and as a result, we had to reconsider, revise, and realign some of our assessments. That all became critical work for us. This work towards common assessments is not new. We are revising and realigning that process, though, under this new instructional leadership that we've had for the past couple of years, because as division heads, we do feel like we have more oversight and collaboration within that process. Common assessments for us, it's common across many of our classes. That's internal data that's used by teachers, admin, and interventionists in order to adjust instruction, dispatch interventions, all using real-time data. And that data from common assessment for you all does translate into that big picture data that goes to the Board of Education that you see in the form of like freshmen on track and all of our pre-ACT and ACT data.
So now that you're moving to a quarterly common assessment, will you be able to provide a board an overarching summary, the quarter, majority of students on target or meeting standards? I'm not looking for individuals, but when we get to the end of the year and we see an overall low score, we're kind of wondering, because as I was reading through this, you've got the quarterlies, and so if you're hitting, I think you said that you're going to be using the quarterlies and then making changes or adjustments. And so I'm just wondering if we would then start to get a report, our quarterlies look strong, we don't need to do adjustment, or our quarterlies identify some gaps, here's where we're going to strategize, something like that.
Ms. Lindquist? You might as well stay at the podium. You still have some oversight on it.
At this point, we don't have plans to report out quarterly because the data that we collect quarterly is that instructional data isn't going to make a lot of sense to anyone, but that's the internal data that we're using to adjust our instruction. We certainly have the ability to look every April when the freshmen take their pre-ACT, the sophomore take their pre-ACT, juniors up to their ACT. We have the ability to look sort of year over year in terms of that, and so we have ideas, in this particular sophomore class, we can say this population of students met or exceeded benchmark. There's a lot of variables that go into that. Curriculums build on each other, so it's not necessarily, and we've talked about this, I know, for example, when Ms. Gaska talks about freshmen on track, it doesn't necessarily translate to knowing that those kids are going to make benchmark when they hit junior year. So representing a quarterly, here's where we are, that's really a temperature check for our teachers to be able to instruct and for us to be able to report out then at the end of any particular year, here are the students that are on pace, here are the students that we're worried about, and then we can intervene that way. But it wouldn't make sense for us to report out quarterly data. We would have to do it in so many subjects, right? We're talking about quarterly assessments in English 9, English 10, English 11, in geometry, algebra, algebra 2. Across every single content, you would probably need us to spend a couple days with you to get through that data. So we really need to use that nuanced data at the instructional level and then save the more high-level performance data for the Board of Education reports.
We should try to cross-correlate, though, the common assessment data and student growth to see if the growth is reflective on the cumulative assessment of the ACT. Right? That should be and that could be given to the board at a high level in April when the divisionals usually come, and we'll have 3/4 of data.
Like as part of the cumulative, as part of the action step response.
Right, as part of tracking, right? Like when we look at a cohort of students like a freshman year, how much did they grow from freshman to sophomore, from sophomore to junior, so we can see as a group
I would
how much
think
they're
also
growing.
the divisionals are looking at if English numbers are on and the growth wasn't there on the ACT, then obviously something we're doing. But that's for the PLCs and for them to do, not necessarily the board level.
No, but as a board member, and I think we need to think about this because it's our job to monitor, I think a whole year is too long. I mean, if your student goes to school and you're only going to get the results after a whole year transpires, that's too long and you've missed the window. Maybe in the middle of the year, and I'm not talking about detail, but if we're looking just overall freshman math, because the student report card, it looks at the math composite score. We're at 59%, and we got a whole year. So I think we need like a mid-year checkup. Are we on track? We wait a whole year, our kids are in the next grade. They've missed several concepts for a whole year. Something's not a match, and they can't go back and get a whole year's worth.
I'm confused when you keep saying we're missing a year. The state collects the data like from all of this year.
But if we're doing
we get it in
assessments
October.
quarterly,
Right.
we should be able
they
to
are.
see a trajectory. If the school is doing assessments quarterly, there should be a trajectory of growth and how well the students are performing. And there should be able to be a general report that, yes, we are meeting our objectives. If we look at the scope and sequence on the website, there are particular concepts that students are supposed to be acquiring throughout the year. But I think if we wait a whole year and we find that there's no growth or we didn't grow at all, it's too late.
But it's their job to assess it at the quarterly level, is what they're saying. And then
But
bring it to us.
Well, but it's our job to monitor that it's being done, and I think we need to find out if something's happening. No, as board members, we need to find out that this is, our report card is 59%. That is very low. So
Well,
somehow
I'm
we
gonna
have
interrupt you
not
there.
been monitoring what's happening. We pay, we support our school, we have, I think, excellent staff, but something is a disconnect. Somehow our students overall, so 59% of our students are likely to do well in college or pass their first class.
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
I don't know what number you're referring to.
The school report card.
What about the school report?
That's our math proficiency level.
This is the same school report card that has us at an exceptional level.
Yes, believe it or not, on the website. So if you just pull up math. And so it concerns me that we're not tracking and we're not getting some data throughout the year that, because as I read your report, you said you're going to be looking at this quarterly, you're going to be making changes, identifying gaps. If you have a business, you're reporting out quarterly and you're making changes, you're identifying losses, wins, and stakeholders don't wait a whole year to get a business report. Why would we wait a whole year to get a report?
I think you're misinterpreting the data, though. These are quarterly assessments for each different class. So what report, I don't know how you can take that gargantuan report and say that.
They assess daily. They are committing to administering one common assessment as a group each quarter. But assessment, Laura, takes place on a daily basis.
Yes, I know.
So let's not mix up these words and make it seem like teachers are only assessing on a quarterly basis. They are assessing daily. Parents have the ability to check those daily assessments on Skyward. I get emails overnight from Friday into Saturday. My kid knows to stay away from me on Saturday morning because that's when I know when the homework assignments are missing. If he scored below an 80%, I know his quarterly grade. It happens on a daily basis. So what are we looking to get again?
I think we need to see, at least biannually, if our students are making adequate progress towards achieving the goals that are identified in the scope and sequence of our curriculum.
But what we're talking about here is, this is the Board of Education goal, and this is the action step that the administration is laying out and the division heads are laying out of how they're going to meet the goal. So we get regular feedbacks on how this goal is being addressed without getting into the detail of a quarterly report. Now, I don't hear the board asking for a quarterly report, and I don't think we want that. I'll speak for myself. But I think what I'm hearing is that you want to know what's the actionable progress that's taking place in support of this goal on a regular basis, which I think we've committed to as part of this larger education goal process.
We're looking for a summary, not the detail, but I want to know on track. I would hate to get through a whole year and find out we had no growth.
Right, but what I'm saying to you is, I think you're misinterpreting. I don't think there's these are, what we're trying to do through this SMART goal is saying by really improving our PLC discussions and focusing on common language and these common assessments, teachers will be able to see if we're working on the skills the kids need for the ACT. So that 59% can go up.
Right.
There's not a quarterly way except for biannual way to tell you that unless if we look at like a DF report. There wouldn't be a breakdown for every single class.
No, you'd have to put it in like the method of like a practice ACT. We
Right.
certainly aren't going to give a practice ACT to the whole classes 4 times a year. That's not.
We don't have that.
That's the
Or
only
even
way you'd
twice
be
a
able
year,
to
yeah.
compare apples to apples.
Well, I think as board members, we're supposed to be monitoring. We have to find some kind of data that's a proxy to say that this is being done.
Right, so in
And we're not
September, when you
gonna-
get the growth of, hey, these men, Kylie includes in the September report, like freshmen were at this point, here they are at sophomores. Here's a snapshot of where they grew. Now, what we should be looking at, maybe we can go in more detail when you get that report in September to say like, well, why aren't they growing from freshman to sophomore year? And that's what they're supposed to be diving into in these quarterly assessments. But I don't think there's a way for us to do a midpoint unless we look at like a cumulative DF report to say like this many kids are passing math, this many kids are failing math.
Well, I think it's a concern if we say, why aren't they progressing from freshman to sophomore year? That's a whole year gone.
But, so I would say, with respect to the rest of the board, you're the only one asking for multiple reports. I think the rest of us are still wanting to listen to this presentation and understand the various action steps that have been laid out. And if we feel collectively that they're not getting us the larger amount of information we need at the Board of Education level, then that's a different discussion. But I think getting into frequency or detail of the report is really not something we should be spending time on.
As we listen more, and I'm going to challenge the board, that our end results were not strong. As we go through this next year, we need to be having conversations maybe with other board members and thinking about what is the proxy we can have to show that we're meeting these targets.
So I would challenge back that we are strong. I really want to make sure that anyone listening at home, this is an incredibly, it's an incredible district with incredible academic outcomes. And I think that you've hinting that it's not, and I don't agree with you. And I don't believe the report card supports your statement either, to be honest. So I'd like to have them kind of go back through all the action steps, and maybe let's kind of finish the action steps, lay them out, and then we can kind of reopen this for any more discussion and see what everyone else has to say.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Minot. I'm the STEM division head. I apologize for my attire. It's coming straight from a softball game today. We sadly lost. But I'm going to go over action step 2. So content teams will review student work assessment results from common assessments at least once every month through PLCs to determine necessary interventions at either the Tier 2, which is your classroom level, or the Tier 3 additional interventions level, and make appropriate recommendations to the interventionists if Tier 3 academic interventions are required. So kind of going off of what Mark said with regard to the common assessments, we have really worked as a building to kind of figure out what do we need, right? And so earlier this spring, all the division heads and teacher leaders met to identify and kind of audit the current state of our PLCs and what goes on. And kind of how we can use that time to look at our common assessments, but also look at the data, so that we are looking at, if we have, I'll use, science, for example, if they are looking at a particular set of skills in a lab, checking, okay, do all the students have these skills after said lab? If I did this lab and you did this lab, and they're supposed to measure the same thing, are we getting the outcomes we want, right? Or within math, I would say probably, I can use math as an example. I've obviously been part of that department for 18 years. But we do a lot in common. Sometimes it feels like one of us doesn't sneeze without the other having a Kleenex in hand. We're just like right there. And so, it might be a one-off quiz, it might be a quick formative assessment. Our new Savas program has these kind of built-in checks, which is really nice that it can give teachers an indicator of where a student's skill is, and then what's the next step? Do they need a little bit of remediation? Do they need extra help? Can they take a challenging question, and so on? So, like looking at those types of things. And then we have kind of a more intentional intervention structure for next school year. We've tried a variety of things, and we recognize like our students, we do have students that need help. And so we will have a rotation of teachers. We have teachers that are assigned to this that'll be rotated so that a teacher is available during lunch 5 days a week. So that a student can see a teacher for math and English, but also we have the teacher selected in a way that they can help in other subject areas so that a student can get assistance. And this year we had students assigned to a teacher, and that kind of blocked up schedules, right? If a student wanted to be in an elective, it was hard to say, you know what, hey, no, we think you need this help, you can't do this elective. Or if it didn't, we identified a kid after their schedule was set, it might not have worked in their schedule because it was, if it was second period and they had second period madrigals, I'm gonna say, because that's a single period class, we're not gonna pull a kid out of madrigals in order to do a math intervention, but this way, if it's at lunchtime, we can be creative with that. Additionally, with students that maybe have an extended absence or what that looks like. We have a plan in place already kind of going. I've been talking to the intervention teachers as far as how teachers could recommend it. So, say I have a student, I'm gonna use Hannah because she's my student. Okay, so say Hannah is having a really hard time. Okay, also I can use Hannah because Hannah never has a really hard time. Let's say she misses 5 days of class, okay, and she needs to get caught up. Then we will have a form that teachers can submit, and so that they can, be like, hey Hannah, come get some extra help, so that we have a process for teachers to recommend students, counselors to recommend students, as well as students to identify that they need help. And having the time during the school day set makes it so that they're not having to sacrifice their extracurriculars. We have a lot of students that work, and so getting here after school is a challenge. And so it kind of meets them where they're at, and so we'll keep track of that to see, what that looks like, what subjects kids are getting help in, and all of that. And then looking forward to not next school year, but the year after, making some adjustments to our CAP program, which is our program that our juniors take to address their needs in ACT skills, more of a test prep, college prep readiness, recognizing that not all our students are college bound, okay? And so giving them some of those career skills, connecting them with different pathways and things along those lines, as well as giving them the test prep skills so that it is of value for every student that's in there. The number one kind of why a student doesn't want to I'm not going to college. Well, let's get you an ACT score that meets benchmark, so that, if you do go, say you end up going to Triton for 2 years and you can go into a credit-bearing math class and get that done, so that you're not in that dev ed cycle for forever and ever and ever, and get you so that you can be successful, as well as connecting students to those career interests as well. So making a little bit more of an intentional direction change with that.
All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kendra Cagle. I'm the Applied Arts Division Head, so I'm in charge of Fine Arts, Wellness, and CTE. And I'm going to discuss action step number 3. Mrs. Lindquist is handing to you right now the additional and updated additional info sheet for action step 3, which has corrected CCPE numbers and the breakdown of each CCPE. CCPE is College and Career Pathways. So for action step 3, instructional leadership will identify and implement at least 3 additional advanced learning opportunities in either dual credit, dual enrollment programs, AP courses, or college and career pathway endorsements. So if you look, college and career pathway endorsements equates to a seal affixed to a student's transcript to indicate that they have completed the requirements set forth and approved for each CCPE by the state of Illinois. So those requirements are 6 college credit hours. Some of them are at Triton College, and some of them are here on campus with a teacher that has been approved through Triton College. 2 team-based challenges, 60 hours of work-based learning, and it follows the appropriate course sequence. There are a few action steps specific, so the number of students of each who earn each pathway, if you look at your additional information sheet, all of that information is there, starting from when we got our first CCPE approved for radio and television broadcasting. You will see some fluctuations in those numbers, and those fluctuations are due to student interest, as well as our course sequencing. So if you look specifically on the back for the back side of that additional page, the 3-year snapshot, TV and broadcasting is the first one there. We had 5 students in 2023-24 school year, and then we didn't have any the next school year because that introductory course students weren't taking. So we noticed that was an issue, so we updated those course sequencing so we would have more students, and so that that means that if we see a change in the sequencing, the flow of students, what the students are taking, we have the option to go in and change that for the next school year. And then you also, if there is like no data, that means that CPE was not approved until the following school year. So currently, according to the state, they want us to have one CCPE approved for the graduating class of 2027. RB is ahead of the game because this year we have 8 total. Those CCPEs, Juniper talked about that when she talked about the education dual enrollment program. And it all goes together. It's all working. It works with everything that the action steps 1 and 2 that Mark and Lindsay already discussed, because they're learning those executive functioning skills, which will allow them to be successful. And they're also going to learn how to, like Lindsay said, if they're not going to college and they want to go into the workforce, this is a great way for them to get those work-based learning skills on how they can be functional, like showing up on time, writing an email, what your resume look like, so they can be successful for whatever they do outside of RB.
Do we have any students who have completed a certificate yet?
You mean a pathway?
Yeah.
If you look on the back of the worksheet that Mrs. Lindquist handed out, yes, and those totals are there for each school year that we've had an approved CCPE for.
So they have, so these totals, these are the ones who have successfully completed?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it also the same number of students who are participating in that program?
No, ma'am.
No, they're saying that they're one and the same.
No, so some students may be enrolled in the pathway. So they, for example, if they're taking a dual enrollment class at Triton, they may not get the pathway because they may not have successfully done those requirements that are listed on the other page.
It's like taking an AP but not taking the test. You can take an AP class, but you're not required to take the test.
So there could be more in culinary, but they haven't completed the formal
Yes,
pathway.
the reason that culinary
Okay.
is a little bit different is because Triton had some prereqs that they had to meet before we got the state approved it,
Okay.
but that sequencing wasn't there.
Okay.
So then we adjusted the sequencing so that allows one student to get that dual enrollment. So students that are in an RB class, for example, if they're taking culinary 2, they're enrolled in that class, they don't necessarily have to participate in the dual credit, and we don't necessarily want them to do that. So if they're not going into a career in food industry, whatever it may be, it could be hospitality, hotel management, they're not doing that, and they take the dual credit class and they go on to college, they're gonna have dead credit. And that's the last thing that we want our students to have.
Good explanation.
Thank you.
Well, it's nice to know because at first glance, it might look like we only have 3 students taking the business management, but we have more. These are just 3 that have completed that pathway.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
Action step 4?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I am tasked with the question of how Student Services is going to leverage available data to help initiate appropriate interventions. This is something we are continuing to do. The Student Services team does this all along, but we will use quarterly data to identify students who need additional supports and respond to them. Using GPA, attendance, and assessment data, these are all ISB, college and career readiness indicators. Using this information so that the counselors and the social workers can see patterns that might not be visible with one measure, and such as looking at declining grades, inconsistent attendance, or assessment results that suggest a need for academic intervention. This intervention information is then aligned with ISB's college and career readiness indicators so that the students are not only supported academically, but also prepared for post-secondary planning and long-term success. So our plan is each quarter the team will create an at-risk list and share it with the instructional leadership team. And this is hopefully going to ensure that concerns are communicated across relevant staff and that interventions are coordinated rather than isolated. I know Lindsay was mentioning the intervention that we are going to be offering during the lunch periods. And I love this idea because truly interventions need to be fluid rather than being punitive. And so by this year sort of locking a student into one period of an intervention, one, it prohibits other students from possibly joining, but also it's keeping that student in something that they may not necessarily need. So I'm excited about the potential for really meeting students where they're at this upcoming school year. Also just thinking about students that maybe potentially are doing well, their attendance is strong, but they're not doing well academically. We need to look at that individual student. Maybe it's some additional tutoring, maybe it's looking at their course planning versus a student who has some significant attendance issues. Maybe this is a student that needs relationship building with an individual. Maybe there needs to be some family support. So again, I feel like this is work that the student services team is currently doing, but we'll be utilizing the leadership team a little bit more in ensuring that we are really taking advantage of all of our interventions. And then I just wanted to touch on, there was a question that was submitted about the senior survey that our seniors were administered today and then tomorrow. So this is an internal survey that I created. It is something that sort of gives me a pulse on how students are viewing the college programming and how they're viewing some of the supports that we are doing within student services. And then the board really does receive results from those surveys through other reports. I mean, primarily through the report that I give in the fall, where you're looking at graduation data, you're looking at post-secondary success. And so sometimes some of the action steps that are on there that we are making some changes are directly reflective from some of that feedback that I received from the seniors.
And you give somewhat of a snapshot of that report in January when you come and tell us, hey, here's the programs we're doing for second semester like you did this year.
Yes. Yes.
Here's when seniors are going to get FAFSA information, going to be filling out their FAFSA applications. Seniors are like where scholarship applications are. And all. You gave a good presentation on that in the board in January.
Correct.
So that's kind of like feedback that you get when the seniors are leaving. You go over the summer with your team.
Like,
use
for
that
example,
data.
I'm curious, like, how many of the seniors attended an evening event? And then I just kind of want to know why, if you didn't. Like, what is it? Is it the time? Is it you're not interested? Did you already have the information? I mean, that's in order to improve the
Your
programming internally, correct?
And I'm looking at the intervention data. Maybe there's an opportunity to include in the two reports, because we do academic reports. This is considered an academic report, and the one you do in September, or Beth, when you come in January, to give like what you're doing for second semester with seniors. Maybe just a snapshot of the number of students that your group identified on GPA attendance and assessment data aligned to the ISB College and Career Readiness that maybe need an intervention. Maybe that's a general snapshot the board can receive, because it won't be from the quarterly data, but it would be a general snapshot. Hey, first semester, these many students.
Yeah, I mean, I can report on
That might be a way to
all of
see.
this will be vetted through our small team process that currently exists. It will just be taking it to the next level, reporting that to the leadership team. So that is something that I can easily share out.
Yeah, that's definitely general data that helps us track movement. A score is only a proxy. We make the assumption that score represents knowledge. But then we also have to find some other proxies that show the journey to getting there. And will it be perfect the first way through? No. But some of these, how many students are participating in extra help, a percentage, or people that are taking advantage of these things. That does help us know that they know that there is help available for them and that they are receptive to what you're offering.
Good job, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Fletcher, you want to come up and do your goal real quick? So this is the communication goal. Tammy will zoom in on the pink. Perfect. Go
Good
ahead.
evening, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for having me. So I'm the pink goal. My SMART goal is identify and implement two new two-way communication strategies for the 26-27 school year. So my first action step is to co-create a student leadership advisory committee. This is really an opportunity for students, teachers, and administration to have that two-way communication. We really wanted to make this an opportunity for students just to have an extra opportunity to speak face-to-face with people that make decisions in our buildings. So we also did want this to be student focused. So we're going to have, the plan is to have it sophomores, juniors, and seniors, 4 from each grade. And then we do plan to have our student board of education advisors for next year join that as well. And so it will be more students than teachers and administrators, so they can kind of lead those conversations. And we are going to be working on this over the summer to be implemented at the start of the 26-27 school year. And this is co-created with teachers and administration. So very excited for this new opportunity to have students collaborate on various topics. And we do hope to meet 3 times a year. So yeah, and my second action step is to continue to inform and update parents and students in the two-way communication Parent Square platform while tracking user interactions. If you are a parent here and you have the Parent Square app, you see my name on those posts. But I really can't emphasize enough how Parent Square platform has just changed the game for our two-way communication. For those who aren't familiar, Parent Square is a unified communications platform that consolidates all of the communications into a single customizable feed. So if you have a student, all the posts from all of their teachers, all of their coaches, all of their groups that they're a part of, it's all on one feed. And the great thing about this is that before we didn't really have like a text option, and as I've learned being in this role, parents really like the text. So parents and students, it's nice because students can put their phone numbers in there too. They're able to choose between the email, text, app, or all 3 if you prefer, and the times that the messages are sent out, so they can have it in a digest, which is like a 6 p.m. end of day with all the messages from that day, or instantly for more time sensitive.
So Mr. Bannon talked about this in the fall when he
Yes.
presented. So we're almost a full year into it.
Yes, so
Perfect.
we implemented this in August, so yeah, it's almost a full year, and just speaking from my experience, it's been amazing for me. It's so easy to use. I think teachers really like it too. I think it's more robust than Remind, because Parent Square did buy out Remind, so.
The action step, though, is to focus on educating and informing and getting more parents to respond back to text or send their questions through parents to like the two-way engagement.
Yes, so actually I'm just gonna go down into my like kind of metrics that I pulled. So having it just being in August, over 47,000 messages have been exchanged across the school. And this can be between parents and teachers, parents and coaches. So a lot of people are using that direct message feature, which is nice. So parents and teachers are able to communicate through the app. And also if a parent doesn't speak English or they prefer their native language, there's like a real-time instant translation. So a parent can speak in their language and the receiver will receive it in their language, and then vice versa. So there's no slip-ups or miscommunication for the translation part of that.
Is there any specific training that the teachers and the coaches get on the platform every year?
Yes.
It seems like there's definitely some teachers that use it a lot, some coaches that use it a lot, and some that barely ever.
For sure, and that was kind of the same thing with Remind. There's always teachers that have used, the same teachers that used Remind a lot are also the same teachers that use Parent Square a lot. We did have a training during Institute Day where we had someone from Parent Square kind of talk with, it was an optional training with the teachers and the coaches, and I have a very open door policy. I say whoever needs help, I'm very happy to help. I will say that we did it was a quick turnaround to get Parent Square up and running because of Remind buying Parent Square, or Parent Square buying Remind, I'm sorry. So, but yeah, we have provided training for teachers, and the goal within the upcoming school year for parents and teachers is to provide even more training and to get more parents and teachers and students who use Student Square to download the app, which has more of the features.
Do you have any idea what percentage of parents and what percentage of teachers are using it? I mean, that's helpful data. That lets us know that it's a vehicle of communication.
Of course. So I don't have that data on me right now, but I can see how many people have downloaded the app, how many people. So it pulls from Skyward, so every single parent has their information in ParentSquare, so it syncs every night, so not a single parent is missing that information. Whether they have downloaded the app or not, that's something that we are looking to push forward because, I mean, you get the messages regardless of having the app or not. I just feel like you get more of that features and you get the app notification right away. So for the upcoming school year, that is something we're looking to push more, our app downloads.
There's definitely more notifications this year than last year.
Yes, and
Notable difference.
Yes, and I know some people think it's a little bit of over communication, but I would say
I actually don't. I think the way it's structured, it's easier to ignore the stuff that doesn't apply to you.
yes.
And
So
it's easier to see, okay, that applies to me or that doesn't.
Yes.
It seems easier than last year.
Right. I mean, it is all in one feed. So if you do have the app, you're able to scroll and kind of see like
Right.
all of it's in one place. Versus before, it was just email. It's like, okay, I'm gonna lose this if I don't save it.
Yeah, email's a disaster.
Yeah, I
This
would
is
agree.
better.
I would agree. Or we still have to educate parents on like maybe don't check every box like I did at my daughter's school, so that you get
Right.
47,000 email, 47,000 text messages.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
And if I can ask folks, the app is available to all. It's on our website. There's training videos. I mean, we make it available. We make ourselves available, you know, for our staff and for our parents. So we're here for everyone.
So, I mean, that's a great metric to report out at one time a year or something that a percentage of parents are using this because that gives us an indication that we are reaching parents.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
I think, right, when you come back next April, you can say we went from 47,000 messages to the number
Yeah.
of percent. 'Cause you come up-
260,000.
Right.
Right. So the goal is just
And
to
you'll be
keep
like, "Go
growing
ahead,
and
my
to
kid's
keep
not."
using all the features. So my third action step is to reestablish the Alumni Achievement Award in fall 26 by providing new opportunities for alumni to engage with stakeholders. So we are reinstating the Alumni Achievement Award for the upcoming school year. We have established a committee consisting of myself, Dr. Skinkis, Dr. Freitas, and then a few RB staff members and RB alum. We actually are meeting on Thursday to discuss the current applicants that we have on file from previous years. And then eventually, we will be selecting 1 to 3 alumni that we will recognize during homecoming time. So we'll be recognizing them at the homecoming assembly and the football game, September 18th. And then a student luncheon with Dr. Freitas and the selected alums. We'll be having an RBTV interview, a piece in the Quarter One newsletter, then of course a plaque on our Alumni Achievement Award. So I'm excited to bring this back for the upcoming school year and for years to come. And then my fourth action step is to continue the Parent University series once a quarter and identify 2 new topics to present on. So this school year we presented 5 Parent University series, and these are all online as well for those who missed them. And I want to thank RBTV for helping us live stream these events, which has been new this year and has been a great help versus the Zooms, which kind of get a little finicky. So we had our Family Welcome Back Night that covers our RB operations, learning management systems, and our safety protocols. We held a Parent Square 101, which is self-explanatory. It was all about Parent Square and just getting parents used to the application. We had our early college credit curricular offerings and course selection night. This is our second year hosting this. We went over our dual credit, AP, dual enrollment opportunities, and provided a brief overview of our curriculum guide and our course selection dates. We always do this right before course selection so parents are prepared and know what to expect. We had Pillars host an event. It's called Building Resilience for Teens. So Pillars has been a great community partner with some of our mental health parent universities, so thank you to them. And our most recent one was Keeping Teens Safe Online with West 40. The school safety team from West 40 came and just provided parents with some tips on how to keep teens safe in today's online world. And then, we're going to continue to brainstorm new ideas for parent universities to keep the content relevant for our families.
Do you keep track of how many parents come to the university?
So general attendance is taken, and I want to say, sometimes we have a classroom, 20, 30, sometimes it's less, but, we communicated with everyone, we partner with our feeder school. We've had parents from other schools, come here from Glenbard, I was a presenter the other day at the Glenbard Parent Series, so, we share with as many people as possible.
I mean, I think that would also be helpful to see, you know, our participation at our parent universities. You're going through a lot of effort to present these, to post them. If we're getting 30 parents or if we're getting 100, that's significant, you know, they're being involved. It'd also be interesting, are we getting freshman parents and then losing parents, you know, only getting freshman parents? That would kind of tell us that we're not meeting the need of our upperclassmen. You know, so I mean, that's, again, data that's helpful to let us know we're doing a lot of things, but are they hitting what we need them to do?
Thank you, Kylie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone. Good night. Thank you.
One thing, as I'm assuming you're pivoting to Dr. Smetana, one thing that may be helpful as we look at the overall goals is I think last year, I guess I can save my comment to the end, but I won't. You know, last year I think the administration did a good job of saying, oh, this addresses goal number whatever with the action step, and this color coordination might be kind of a helpful way to track it as well. Like this is a budget goal, right? This is a purple budget goal.
Oh, you're saying
Yeah.
throughout the years we give our reports?
Right, because I think there's a lot of these
That we're
questions that I'm hearing tonight are being addressed with regular reporting throughout the year. And I know it's highlighted often in the board packet, but I think maybe if we can be a little bit more deliberate when the administration is reporting out,
Great
this
point.
is really fitting
Yeah.
the action step adopted. Because I think that's what I'm hearing. Is we get a lot of information, and sort of tracking it is the hurdle to some extent. But I'm sorry, go ahead. Is this Dr. Smetana?
Go ahead, Dr. Smetana. We've been talking about these for a while, so yours
Yeah.
should be pretty quick.
Yes, so the first goal would be to generate a list of capital projects, repairs, and maintenance that can be reviewed by the architect, construction manager, and facilities advisory council. So the first step would be to complete a building walk, the architect and construction manager to compile a draft list. You know, we did the life safety walk, but this would be inclusive of everything in the building to make sure we capture things that weren't on life safety. Compile cost, funding sources, and a 5-year timeline for the draft of the projects and work that needs to be completed, and then meet with the Facilities Advisory Council to finalize both the list of projects as well as the proposed timeline. The next SMART goal that aligns to maintaining responsible budgeting while investing in staff programs directly affecting student outcomes and the district physical plant. For next year, that goal would be to manage the expenses related to the solar panel project, campus improvement project, which obviously is pending at this point, while continuing to ensure resources are committed to programs that directly affect student outcomes. For example, like the dual enrollment that you heard tonight, and monitoring expenditures to ensure that June 30th actuals are at or below the budgeted level. So the action step for that would be to track expenditures for the solar panel project and the campus improvement project to keep those projects within the approved budget. Work with Verde Solutions, our solar panel vendor, and the district's auditor to complete and submit paperwork for all the solar panel incentives. Compile a list of additional resources in the upcoming budget that were committed to programs directly affecting student outcomes, and then monitor expenditures and provide monthly updates to the board to ensure that we're on track to meet the June 30th actuals.
Thank you, Kristen. There were no other questions submitted. I think they're all been addressed. So again, the board approved these in December. These are the action steps we developed over the second semester and we'll be implementing in our work starting this summer and throughout next school year. And we'll report on these throughout the year in many of the regularly scheduled reports. And then we always will have the April one where we'll close out how we did on these and what we're proposing for next year's as SMART goals.
Okay.
That concludes that report.
Thank you. We don't have any additional information items from this evening. I don't see any visitor statements here this evening. I don't think we lost anyone. Under the consent agenda, I know Ms. Ruska had a question on the auditor contract. Do you want us to pull that from consent agenda?
No, I think we answered, was it the conflict of interest question?
You asked if there was a conflict of interest, if they represent the Township treasurer, and the answer is no.
And the answer was no, so
Yeah.
then I
Okay.
just had that one question.
So you're comfortable moving
Yeah.
ahead with consent agenda, please?
Right.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, takes the following action on the listed consent agenda items. Approves Evans, Marshall, and Pease, PC as the district's auditor, and the consolidated district plan, which is the annual grant application, as presented in the April 28, 2026 board agenda packet.
Second.
Second from Mr. Durkin, and we do need a roll call on these.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gaska?
Yes.
Okay, under old business, we don't have any updates on life safety items, capital improvements, or sustainability. Correct me if I'm mistaken.
None, right, Kristen?
Okay. Okay. Just checking. The 2026-2027 school board meeting dates, I know Ms. Ruska raised some issues last time. My suggestion is we motion and open it for discussion because you've raised a couple of points that you wanted to discuss at the board about the calendar. So if we can make the motion and we'll second, then we'll open for discussion.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, approves the 2026-2027 school board meeting dates as presented in the April 28, 2026 board agenda packet.
So moved, and we need a second.
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Novak. Now, any discussion?
So I sent to everybody the last 7 years of our school calendar. Typically, we have 7 committee of the whole meetings. If we approved this calendar, we'd be going down to just 3. And it is easier to keep these meetings on the calendar, and if for some reason we say we have nothing, it's easier to not have a meeting than try to schedule a meeting, because people's schedules are second and fourth Tuesday. Those Tuesdays are reserved, you create your path. We're going to have some projects, hopefully construction projects moving forward. We've got these great actionable items on our goals. I think, now with the pathways, many years ago we had No Child Left Behind, we used to talk about. We had another mandate. We don't have that, but now we have the career readiness pathways that we can talk about and learn more about. So I think it would be not in our best interest to lose that additional cow. If we keep it in, we're still less meetings than we have typically had in the last 7 years. So it would be, if we keep the February cow in, it's just 4, I believe, cow meetings as opposed to 3, which is far less than the 7 we've had for the last 7 years. So, that is my recommendation, that we leave that on the calendar so that we have opportunity for presentations, discussion, and information.
Okay. Does anyone else have any comments, questions?
We're
This is
taking one
really
away- We're taking 1 away from last year, not 6. Because you're saying like
Correct.
7 years ago we had 7.
And I would, to Ms. Ruska's point, some of those meetings 7 years ago were special meetings during COVID. We do have the ability, as you know, to call a special meeting. We did that to approve the CBA on a couple of occasions. We've called special meetings during COVID in particular. So that's where some of the higher count, if you go back to the farther years. But to Laura's point, yes, we'd be going down 1 meeting. We would still be meeting monthly, as is our obligation. The committee of the whole, which is a second meeting, we'd have 1 less next year.
Right, so
that's the proposal.
For 7 years, we've had between 6 or 7 committee of the wholes. It wasn't 7 years ago we had 7 meetings, and then the last 6 years we had 4. For every year up to this year, I think last year we had 6 committee of the whole meetings.
This year will be, we had 2 in September, 2 in October, 2 in February, and 2 in April.
Yeah.
So that's 5.
Right.
And the question was why the board had asked in February, we had a discussion that the 2 February meetings were both less than 30 minutes total. So there was a question of why that couldn't be combined in February. And then there was the question on the May meeting, if it was really required because it's the Tuesday following graduation as well, where the board is already in the building for graduation and their meeting, and then coming right back after Tuesday after Memorial Day. So those are the 2 that we removed. So the only one that we're removing, we're combining the February and May, so 2 meetings.
Well, we combined January. We used to have 2 meetings in January, so we combined that. It seemed to make sense. We're coming back from break. I think it's an anomaly this February that it was a quick meeting. I think that may not be the case next year, because if we look historically, the last 7 years, we've had 2 meetings, and those meetings were not less than a half hour long. So I think this year was just an anomaly, and I think it would be a mistake to also combine February, because then you have 1 meeting in November, 1 meeting in December, 1 meeting in January. You would only have 1 meeting in February. That's the 4th month. You have only 1 in March, so that's 5 months with only 1 meeting in a row. So I think it would be a mistake to go 5 months with just 1 meeting. I think we want to keep the 2 meetings in February for additional information, getting ready for the end of the year, checking on our projects, many things. I think this year was an anomaly.
Does anyone else have any thoughts on this?
I'm comfortable with the meetings that we're going to vote on today, myself. I don't think you just add a meeting because to add meetings, it's not making this board any more productive to add a meeting because we want to meet more than once a month. I'm comfortable with once a month together, but we're a board, we could vote.
Yeah. This we had down as a, normally wouldn't be a roll call, but I sense we're going to have some division here. Would you mind just doing it as a roll call so we know?
Well, we're not adding a meeting. We're taking a meeting away. That's what this vote
we're adopting a meeting schedule
that reduces
to meet
total
the needs
meeting.
of the board. Yeah. Could we just do a roll call, please? Thanks.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gaska?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
No.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Yes. We also have the approval of contract for transportation. This was a first read last month. This is a second read. There were some additional questions, I believe. Not additional questions, but there was some clarity taking place between last month and this month.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes,
My
there were no
apologies.
questions submitted. So we did have the bid opening, the public bid opening, and we had First Student was the only company that received a complete and on-time bid. And so therefore, we make the recommendation to award the bid to First Student. First Student is our current transportation vendor. They did agree to the contract terms, the disclosures, and then they submitted the following price structure. $93.50 an hour next year with a 3-hour minimum. The following year, $96 an hour, and then the following year, $99 an hour. The current rate with First Student is $96. So they did drop the rate for next year. So I would be making a recommendation that the board consider approving this tonight.
Were there any questions on this item? I think we had some. Okay.
I did appreciate in the proposal the effort that First Student takes. They do all the background training. They do all the training of any chaperones, anybody in the bus. They were very thorough in that, so I did appreciate that.
The Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois approves the 3-year contract with First Student as presented in the April 28, 2026 Board Agenda Packet.
Second, we have a second from Mr. Williams, and we need a roll call, please.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gaska?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Under new business, we have textbook adoption. This is a first read, unless someone...
Ms. Lindquist,
Tell me this is a first read, correct?
first read short story.
Yes, first read short story. The textbook requests that are in your packet represent a recap of the expenditures for this current school year, as well as a look into the future for the next 3 years. The year one of the plan, which would be the textbooks that we're requesting to order next year, would be teacher and student resources for AP Spanish language, digital textbook licenses for our earth science classes, all levels of workbook and teacher resources for French, and the same for reading, and then some teacher resources for Spanish 3. The cost for the fiscal year 27 is obviously significantly lower than what we paid this year, because this is the year that we got our new math curriculum from Savas, and that was a total swap out of our previous textbook at all levels. We always build some room in the budget in the event that we have more students in a course than we have books for when we go and do our inventory for repair and replacement. When we presented this with the Curriculum Advisory Council, we did discuss the fact that we have moved to a lot of digital resources since we became one-to-one. It's worth noting so that the board is aware that we always have print resources available for students, even if we offer just a classroom set. If we have students who have IEPs that require them to have textbooks in their study skills class or at their house, that's something that students can obtain working with their teachers to make sure that they can check out a book, so they maybe have that print resource in addition to their digital resources.
I don't think there were any other questions submitted on this, correct?
I don't think there were any textbook questions submitted. We just had that brief discussion at the advisory council.
Okay, since it is an expenditure, I think we view it as a first read and we'll approve it at the next meeting if everyone's comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Lundquist.
Thank you.
Press Plus Policy 121, we have to have an advisory council,
Yes,
which
this
is
is just an FYI available
Yeah.
for everybody in the
Yep.
packet now.
This
So
includes
this counts
the-
as your first read for
Yep.
everybody.
Perfect, thank you. And then we do have, I believe this is for adoption, correct, Dr. Freitas? The out-of-state overnight field trip for
Correct,
POMS?
yes. Yeah, this is an annual request by the POMS team under the leadership of Coach Sherman. So they're requesting approval to attend the UDA summer camp at NIU, Northern Illinois University, July 21st through the 24th of 2026. Annual trip has always gone great, never any incident, and our students have always grown and learned from the experience. So
And I believe I think Mr. Ruska submitted a question. There was the description written out by Ms. Sherman, and then I think there were 2 blank pages scanned, and then the 4th page has the 4-day breakdown of everything the kids are doing over the 4 days camp. And this looks very similar to the same camp they attended last year at Northern Illinois.
Correct.
They've been doing it for
Same
years.
format, the only thing that's different are the dates.
I was just asking for the insurance papers and again, the permission slip. I kind of would like to see the whole packet.
The insurance papers are in the front, correct? Dr. Smetana, on
Well,
the
I
policy?
think
'Cause I
in a
sent that
Friday
board-
packet you sent
I
them,
sent the
didn't
whole
you?
board policy and the insurance waivers and everything in the board policy that you requested last week.
Okay, but was it in the board packet?
Yes.
No.
You asked for the whole
Right.
procedures, that was sent last week, and then what they filled out here is the 2 applicable that apply. The first 2 pages where they have to fill out, sign, it clearly states the board's coverage or what the board is.
So those are the same documents that
Yes.
also go?
Yes.
Is there something missing in your estimation? This looks fairly consistent with other field trip approvals we've done, but is there something specific you're looking for that was not in the Friday update, or this?
No, I was just looking for full, there was one line on the form, but it said they have to fill out the 2 forms. When I was looking at it, I'm trying to find what the exact page of it, but it looks like it's one and the same form. It might have just been a miss.
So the first step of the process is the teacher fills out this form, provides the required information, the principal reviews it to make sure it's okay. Dr. Freitas approves it for Ms. Moe to put on the agenda for 2 reads. The board approves the idea of them going overnight from the information submitted that you're reviewing. They sign off on it, then there's another step where their kids will fill out the individual student form.
What page are you on? I think there was a line there. I just wanted to clarify that that was one and the same form.
I can't read that up there.
347.
340? 347?
In the PDF version.
347, okay.
So while she's looking at that, quick question for you, Dr. Freitas. Do you know if this is the completion of the field trips we're going to see requests for like through the summer months?
I'm sure there's still some.
Okay.
We try to
There might have been like a baseball one, yeah.
Another 1 or 2,
Okay,
Madam
and I
President.
guess that's what I would just encourage them to, let's get them together, because I feel like we're getting the same question on the same forms, and it would just be helpful to have them together so that there could be a consistent
Well, there were
response.
2 last month.
Right.
There was one in Wisconsin and
Right.
and one is the band trip, and then there's
The
this
band
one.
trip.
But there's a few more that I think that are still pending. So
Yeah.
my suggestion is if we could
We try to
encourage-
get them all together. I hear you loud and clear.
Last week, I guess, 2
Right,
weeks ago.
because we're just getting kind of,
Some
we're,
are more organized than others.
yeah.
So
Is it the case with everyone, right?
Yeah, I found that. It's that paragraph. It says, "The teacher, sponsor, or coach requesting the extracurricular trip, club or athletic, or educational tour must complete this form. The teacher must also complete the Riverside Brookfield Township High School District 2008 Tour-Teacher Form 6:240E2B."
Yeah,
So-
there's a form missing. The teachers need to complete a form that says that they will follow all of the administrative procedures once the educational tour is approved. So whether or not, I don't know if Dr. Freitas has that, and it's not in the board packet, but it's just a signature that they will abide by the procedures. That's what that form says.
Oh, so there is a form
And that comes
missing.
after, once everything's approved, then they.
So have we consistently seen that form? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, it's here. I was looking for both, and that's the one I wanted to, see, so, okay.
But that doesn't have anything to do with the insurance, right? That's just the teacher saying they'll follow all the procedures laid out in our process.
Well, that's the whole packet, yeah.
Okay, so can this go to us, since this is a first read and there were some questions, can we do a second read, or are they looking
Sure.
to get this? Let's move this to a second read, I think, just to kind of satisfy everyone.
Do they need to fundraise for this?
I mean, yeah, we're always.
I feel like we did a
Okay.
first read last time for the other two groups,
We did,
and now
Madam
we're
Vice
gonna
President.
hold these guys off.
Well, we used to always have a first read and a second read. Lately, we're just pushing things through quicker.
Well, I think the
Well-
point with doing that was so that the kids could fundraise.
Okay.
Well, but we were getting things in soon enough so people would read it, be able to think about it, have questions, so we didn't miss anything. Like here, we're missing a form.
But this form has not historically been in this packet, is what I'm hearing from the administration.
It's also not contingent on the form, what the board is saying is they're okay with the person going overnight, taking a group of kids overnight. What's the purpose? Does it relate to the activity they're being paid to sponsor? All that information is provided here.
I guess I don't know what's missing, Laura.
It's the teacher that's, they're filling out, they're agreeing to follow all the rules and regulations for this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not required for board approval, that's what they're saying.
Well, it says here
No.
that the teacher sponsor requesting the curriculum, this is what they have to do. The teacher must also complete this form.
Yeah, and
But the
receive board
form is not necessary for board approval. They have to complete the form and they have to get board approval.
Yeah.
Those are two different things.
When's our next meeting?
2 weeks, May 12th.
So that's, only gives them 2 weeks of school left. Could we vote on this today?
I'm comfortable voting on
Okay.
it.
Is everyone kind of straw poll? Are we comfortable voting on this today? Does anyone else have any
I'm
concerns?
comfortable voting.
Okay, I think we'll have
But
the.
Laura, the distinction I'm making is that the Board of Education approval doesn't have anything to do with the form.
So it's just a request that seeing the full packet so that we know that we're covered when the full packet comes. That
I
everything's taken
I don't disagree, Dr. Freitas. You got to check A, B, C, so it's all there in the future.
I mean, that's our job. To make sure.
I don't disagree that our job is to approve this or to make sure they're doing it in the proper fashion, but the form itself and the board approval aren't the same thing. They're not contingent on each other.
Well, I mean, we should be approving fully completed proposals, but
So I think there's just we're parsing words here a little bit. So I think we have a request for a motion. Do you want to make the motion, and then we'll see how it goes?
The Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, approves the overnight varsity Palms trip to attend the UDA summer camp at Northern Illinois University as presented in the April 28, 2026 board agenda packet.
Is anyone able to second that?
I'll second.
Mr. Novak, okay.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Gaska?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
no.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Yes. And I think as a courtesy to the board for future, if we could just try to get some more consistency in the packets, I think that would be helpful, and also encourage people to get them in for the summer, because I know there's a few out there still that are percolating.
Dr. Freitas,
Thank
make
you,
sure
Dr.
you
Freitas.
put a checklist in place for you and your assistant so that Form B are filled out and your signatures on it before you submit it to Ms. Moll.
Yes, sir.
That tells us then you checked everything off.
Perfect. Yeah, maybe we need a new form. I don't know. Visitor statement, seeing none. Board of Education discussion items. We don't have any for this evening. Board of Education items for future meetings. Does anyone have anything?
Well, I sent everybody the program and the
yes.
slides for the presenter. You know, if any, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the slides from the presenter and, you know, the wonderful, you know, the host, Schiller Park, they hosted the event. They were just lovely hosts. A lot of information in those slides on AI, how AI is being used, how quickly it's being adopted, how teachers using it, students using it. You know, anybody have questions, you know, the speaker's absolutely willing to take any kind of questions or interest, so hopefully you enjoyed being able to see those things. So those meetings are always a great resource to us as board members because we get to talk to other board members and ask, how is your school doing this? Or what are you doing in your school with these tools or these opportunities? And we get to see different opportunities that maybe we never even thought of. And we're also challenged with questions that we maybe never even thought of asking. So next meeting, hopefully, we'll have some more board members attend.
Thank you for sharing the information. Matters for closed session. Appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body. We do have an HR packet. Student discipline, individual student matters, purchase, sale, or lease of real property, probable imminent or pending litigation, collective negotiations, school safety, and superintendent's evaluation.
The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, enters closed session for the purpose of considering the closed session matters as presented in the April 28, 2026 Board Agenda Packet.
So moving to a second to go to closed. Second for Mr. Durkin, and a roll call, please.
Ms. Gaska?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Novak?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Okay. It is 9:15. Can we make it downstairs?